Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. I can't even believe this is a thing. I swear to y'all. We had already had our content kind of laid out for today and what we're going to discuss. Then Mitch sends me over this topic. He's like, bro, you got to check this out. Right. So I click. It was a snippet from an interview. And it was an interview that was on Vice News. And it says how Maverick Carter rewrote the rules of sports media featuring Maverick Carter. Shane Smith has questions. And it's an hour-long interview that came out a few days ago. So Mitch goes, you need to check this out, bro. Right. You need to check this out. Given the current current investigation of the FBI into the NBA, and those of you who may not be aware, on the latest update, the NBA is now conducting its own investigation and is investigating multiple teams. One of those teams, which is the Los Angeles Lakers, where they asked 10 members of the Lakers staff to hand over their certain documents and their telephones. Some of those members included Randy Mims and I think Mark Mancy as one of the athletic trainer guys, because essentially what they're trying to do is get to the bottom of who Damon Jones was getting his information from within the Los Angeles Lakers that was giving him information in terms of injury reports, right? So you have that going on. You have the larger investigation of individuals like Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, and some other key figures that you guys have already heard about. So it's a very, very serious thing, right? And the FBI is involved. So one would think that this would be a time to do what? Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up. You would think so, but that is not what happened. Mitch says, take a look at this clip where they're talking about gambling. And I'm like, you got to be joking. So I click on it. And as I'm watching it, I'm reading through the comments, right? And one guy wrote something like, the FBI is having donuts right now while watching this interview. And some other people make, I'm like, so what did he say? I started to watch the interview. And I said to myself, there's no way that Maverick Carter is saying this. An interview that came out, I think, on November the 6th, 7th, one of those days, in the midst of an FBI investigation into this thing. For those of you who didn't hear his comments, want to play it for you now, and we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to this here.
Still in their basement, there would be gambling games.
Yeah.
A game called Pity Pat, which for women's, sometimes craps.
Pity Pat?
Pity Pat.
What is it?
Mostly women played it. All my aunts played it. My mom. It is like it's a very fast match game, almost like Goldfish,
right,
but a little different. But it's like, and the first one who basically makes 6 matches going clockwise wins the pot. And they would bet like $5 a hand.
So it's Pity Pat and craps. What else?
And a little poker.
So you could play poker, craps, Pity Pat, have a drink.
And she'd take a rake on the game, sell the liquor, and then there was food. She'd be the kitchen. The basement was like twice the size of this room, maybe, and there could be 75, 80 people, and they're just jammed in there because the tables might be full, and you put your name down, and you wait for a spot on the tables.
Popular.
Very popular.
So this is the greatest thing on earth. It sounds like I want to go there now.
It's where I honed my skills.
Yeah, amazing.
The little skills I do have were honed there.
So you played poker or craps?
I grew up as a kid.
Served drinks?
At 5, my mom and my dad would already be out in the streets. My mom and dad had me when they were 22, both of them. So by the time I was 6 or 7, they were still 27, 28. They were still
partying,
living a great life,
yeah,
partying. And they would drop me, my mom, when she got off work at 5 o'clock, by 6:30 on Friday, I was at my grandmother's house. She'd drop me off. Before I got in the door, her car would be pulling off because she just knew someone was in there. And then so I would be there Friday basically until Sunday night. My mom would come back and get me. And at 5, my grandmother taught me how to play Pity Pat, how to shoot craps. And then I learned, I didn't get to do it, but I knew how the rake worked. Mm-hmm. But my job was at the end of the night, and the end of the night could be 5 in the morning. Just depends on how long the players played. It could be 7. She'd wake me up, and I'd sweep up the cigarette butts, those beer cans.
Change, maybe some money.
Yes. And finders keepers.
Yeah.
But my grandmother taught me a valuable lesson, which was whatever I found, and I'd find $1 or $5.
Sure.
But any night, a good night, I could find $20.
Yeah,
On
it's
a
a lot
bad
of money.
night, I'd find $2.
Yeah.
And the rule of my grandmother was, whatever I found was mine, except for the next day in the lottery, I put a number in for her. That was the only. She taught me a valuable lesson, which is I'm cleaning, but it's her house. So really, what's on the floor is hers.
She gets her big no matter
She
what.
gets her big no matter what. She taught me what it means to take a big
Sure.
and why people get bigs or not.
Yeah.
And that's how I grew up from 5 until.
And sorry, Laura, and you can tell me I want the truth here, is that she named you Maverick.
She named me. She loved the show.
Who is the tall, dark stranger there? Maverick is the name. Riding the trail to who knows where. Luck is his companion. Gambling is his game.
Before my time, I've watched it in retrospect later in life, Maverick. It's about a guy, Brett Maverick, and his brother, Bart Maverick, which is their last names, which I often tell people. People who know that show, like if I'm at the airport or wherever and someone asks me my name, if they're old enough to have watched that show, they often ask me, is that your last name?
Yeah.
Because on the show, that was the guy's
That's right.
last name, wasn't
Yeah.
there? She took it and made it my first name.
Yeah.
And she told, I would have been her youngest grandchild because my dad was the youngest. So, and she told my mom, you're going to name that boy Maverick. And that was how I got my name.
He always carried a $100 bill. I always keep a $100 bill because of that show. And it was James Garner, grew up with it,
Correct.
and fantastic show. You know, he was sort of the smart.
What I love about him, he always danced right on that, a little Batman-esque, I guess, of like, he's definitely for good, but he might have to do some bad to get, he might have to swing to do a little bad to get everything good to happen.
And he's a gambler. And
Correct, and he was a big gambler, a risk taker.
And
Fantastic. So you heard that. Now, for those of you who don't understand just how serious this is and how insane that they were even having this conversation so comfortably, I want to quickly read from a quick Sports Business Journal article, journal article that was published on December 1st, 2023. It says, Maverick Carter admits to betting on NBA games. Continues on. Maverick Carter, longtime manager and business partner of the Lakers forward LeBron James, admitted to betting on NBA games through an illegal bookie. Carter made the admission during a 2021 interview with federal agents, that's the FBI, investigating bookie Wayne Nix, who has since pleaded guilty to charges stemming from his role running a sprawling offshore sports betting ring. Carter told agents could not remember placing any bets on the Lakers. NBA policies bar players, teams, and league officials from gambling on NBA games, but the league does not have purview over business managers or agents. The NBPA bars agents, but not business managers, from betting on the NBA. Then continues on. After the Lakers lost to the Thunder last night, James said he just learned of Carter's betting history and 2021 interview with federal investigators during the last 24 hours, James said. Mavericks is his own man at the end of the day. Gambling is legal. I mean, you can go on your phone right now and do whatever you want. And he has no affiliation with the NBA or NFL, so he can do whatever he wants to do. What? Y'all having this conversation now? In the midst of this madness while it goes on? Am I the only one that thinks like, yo, bro, maybe y'all don't want to be talking about this? And Maverick over there talking about it so comfortably. I'm like, bro, do you not know what's going down? It's going down. Are y'all not aware that the NBA is investigating the Lakers? Now, obviously, according to what LeBron said, according to what the article says, that there is no, what do you call it? There's no connection. There's no wrongdoing because he's, he's an NBA manager, not the staff member or something like that. So he's not going to be in any trouble or anything like that. But from an optical standpoint, they're trying to paint a picture. I'm referring to in the FBI. They're trying to paint a picture here. Right? Damon Jones, who are you connected to? They're already mentioning LeBron's trainer. They already mentioned one of his closest associates in Randy Mims. Now you got this interview drop, bro. I don't know if it's that these guys are extremely confident, or they are just unaware of what they're doing. This should be the last thing y'all are talking about, especially after this investigation already occurred a number of years ago, back in 2021. Am I the only one that's thinking, bro, maybe we need to pipe down just a bit? What do you think? I couldn't believe it. It's absolutely diabolical. I cannot believe that your man was up there so comfortably talking. I was like, yo, you got to be not saying that, oh, he did anything wrong or anything like that. But really, is this something that y'all need to be discussing while this investigation is ongoing? I don't know, man. I just don't know. So, first of all, big shout out to Kenyon Martin. Okay. It seems like Kenyon Martin is, I don't know, seen some of our shows, but some of the stuff he's been saying is some of the stuff that I've been saying, which is this. I've been saying for the longest time, I find it amazing that nobody has done anything to Draymond Green since he's been kicking people in the nuts, doing roundhouse kicks, Shoryukens, choking people out when they're not looking, trying to step on people when they're on the floor, acting like he don't know what he's doing. I'm like, nobody in this NBA said, yo, enough is enough. I'm going to smack this. Nobody said that, which is something that Kenyon Martin said in the past, but then he recently said it when he went on, I think it was on Marcellus Wiley's show, right? So what we want to do is we want to quickly play what Kenyon Martin said first. Just a quick snippet of it, so it kind of lays the groundwork for what we're going to be talking about here today. Take a listen to Kenyon Martin here.
Draymond ain't did nothing to nobody who was going to do something to him, do something back to him.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
That's the list I'm talking about.
That's all. He ain't did nothing to nobody who was going to do something back to him. And I said it on our show. Ain't nobody hit Draymond in his Ain't nobody hit him one up for a layup, and ain't nobody took him out the air. Ain't nobody hit him. Ain't nobody stepped on his chest. Ain't nobody did anything that he's done to nobody.
Great. So you heard what Kenyon Martin had to say, right? Then I think about 2 days ago, he went on Gil's Arena and kind of doubled down on his comments that were going viral. Fantastic. We saw that already. But as it turns out, Draymond Green decided that he wanted to respond to Kenyon Martin, right? He wanted to respond because Kenyon Martin is essentially calling Draymond Green a fake tough guy, that he picks and chooses who he wants to be tough with, and he doesn't go at guys that he knows are going to retaliate immediately. That's what Kenyon Martin said, and I agree with him. So Draymond now decided to basically clap back at Kenyon Martin, but did it in a way where it left a lot of us like, yo, dog, really? All right, cool. So what we want to do is we want to play what Draymond Green had to say here. I want you guys to listen to it in its entirety, and I want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to Draymond Green here.
Number one, because I just know when I respond to it takes on a whole nother world, and guys get more publicity than they necessarily get when I don't respond. So I've been kind of taking the path of like, I ain't going to say nothing because I don't want to give people more publicity. But more importantly than the publicity, I try to stay in a space of respect. You know what I'm saying? I try not to be moved by someone just saying a thing or two, because at the end of the day, I still have my beliefs, and my beliefs are, man, I've rooted for this guy for a very long time, so I'm not a wishy-washy guy. Just because somebody say something, I'm not just going to jump out there and be like, oh, man, like, I got to respond or forget all of that. Like, nah, I stand on what I believe in. And what I've believed in is like, no, I supported that guy. So I'm not just going to jump off the rails and attack him or be responding and getting in these back and forths because of the respect and love that I had growing up as a kid. But, man, the shots just keep coming. And it's like, dang, why? And again, I just don't know how you can continue to shoot at me and you underachieve. Like, one All-Star? Make no mistake about it. You are an All-Star. I'll give you that. A lot of people can't say they're an All-Star, so I'll give you that. You're a one-time All-Star. That's beautiful. But you must admit, like, to be the player that you were and defender that you believed you were, and to not have, like, a single all-defensive second team, it's kind of an underachievement. Number one pick in the draft. A lot of people look for that guy to win Rookie of the Year. Didn't. All rookie team, though. First team all rookie. That's an accolade that I can't say I have. I ain't really played much as a rookie as the 35th pick. So I can't say I made any all rookie team. So kudos. I tip my hat to that. It started off promising. But I just, like I said, man, the shots, they're just a little baffling to me. Because all the criticism, like, if I stopped playing basketball today, my career was better, way more impactful. You know, I think Kenyon Martin lost in a couple NBA finals. He got to sniff it. Didn't quite get a taste, but got a little sniff of it. Yeah, so you just your resume got to be a little better to just keep taking shots. It's not that people, like, your resume don't match up, people can't say, but these have been shots being taken. And it's just a little disappointing because, like I said, that's a guy who I cheer for relentlessly. You know, him in 2000 playing for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to see that championship through either. My big brother, Mateen Cleaves, went and took that championship. You know, so yeah, man, it's just a little disappointing that.
So you heard what he had to say. First of all, do you know what Draymond Green's response sounds like? His response sounds like every time he was confronted with a guy that he know, with a player that he knows would take it there with him. It's all, I'm gonna this, I'm this, and this, and this, and this. The minute somebody that is waiting for you to try it, you start deviating and going in a different direction. Nah, Draymond, he's saying you're soft. That's what he's saying. He's saying you're picking and choosing. He's saying that a lot of your stuff is calculated. A lot of it, premeditated. You're choosing who you're going to do these things to. Kenyon is saying it don't matter. It could happen at the spur of the moment, regardless of who it is. That's what Kenyon Martin is saying. That's what he's saying. I've seen videos of Draymond trying to go at cats, and it didn't go the way he thought it would go, and he walked away. Go look up the video of him and Ron Artest. All of them kicks and all. He didn't do nothing. That was one video. Go look at the video of him and Marcus Smart. He was trying to do those antics in the game. Marcus Smart threw him to the floor, stood over him. Draymond stood up, and what did he do? Started clapping and walked away. No, I'm going to punch you. He didn't Jordan Poole him. Nothing. Isaiah Stewart. Shout out to Isaiah Stewart. I think he's from New York. Shout out to him. Isaiah Stewart said, come here. Like Scorpion, come here. Chest to chest. What Draymond do? Nothing. Just up there talking. All right? Just talking. Just talking. That's what Kenyon Martin is talking about. When it came time to go at the cats that you knew was going to go at, you ain't doing nothing. This is a fact. We got the videos. This is a fact. Now, let's get to the other part where he's trying to make. Kenyon Martin is a better basketball player than Draymond Green. I don't care what nobody's. He's a better. I saw Kenyon Martin play. I saw him on those New Jersey Nets. Dog, there is no point in time in Draymond's career when he was better than that Kmart. None whatsoever. None. The only difference is Kenyon Martin wasn't playing on a team with Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant. That's the fundamental difference. He played with a great player in J. Kidd, yes. And Richard Jefferson and those guys, yes. Yes. But they lost to Shaq and them in the finals. You would have lost too. Yeah, you would have lost too, Draymond. You would have lost too. Shaq would have been ragdolling you. Then he played with Carmelo Anthony and AI towards the end of his career, and he ran into a monster in Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. But Kenyon Martin is a better player, period. Better. You can call up all-star. You're getting these all-star selections because you're playing on a great team. What do you do when Stephen Curry and these guys are not there? Draymond Green averages a triple single for his career. Kenyon Martin doesn't. He doesn't. These are the facts. Draymond is averaging a triple single for his career. This is a fact. The best year of Draymond Green's career is when he averaged 14 points a game, 1.4 blocks, 1.45 steals, 7.5 rebounds. 7.54 assists and 9.5 rebounds. Kenyon Martin's best years, he had a few of them, but we'll just look at some of the Nets years. He averaged 16.7 points per game, 1.3 blocks, 1.5 steals, 2.5 assists, 9.5 rebounds. Those were his numbers. But beyond the stats, I saw him play. I saw him play. You know what else Kenyon Martin got better than you, Draymond? Better playoff numbers. Yes, let's talk about that. Better playoff numbers. He does. This is a fact. In the 2004, when he was playing with the Nets, he was averaging 19 points per game, 1.3 blocks, 1.2 steals, 1.1 assists, 11 rebounds a game on 53% shooting. The year before that, he averaged 19 in 20 games. So, like, what are we talking about? He's better than you in the regular season. He's better than you in the playoffs. To bring up his all-star selections, he didn't play on a Golden State Warriors team. A lot of that team success is because he played on those teams. This is a fact. And if y'all were playing in the same era, you would not go at Kenyon Martin. All of this, you would not do it. You wouldn't do it. Kenyon Martin is calling you basically a soft dude that acts tough. And in this particular response, you're not responding to anything he said. All you're talking about is, oh, my career is this, my career. Nah, dog, it's a response to what he said. He said you picking and choosing, you running, as far as I'm concerned. And it's not hate. You can't be serious. You the same one that just called Dak Prescott ass. Was it not you calling Dak Prescott ass? A player that's way better than you at his sport, at what he does, than you are, but you called him ass. Or a bum, sorry. A bum. That's you. You call him a bum. And now you want to play the victim. Oh, man, I don't know why people are hating on me. What Dak Prescott ever said about you for you to call him a bum? Now all of a sudden you the victim. Come on, man, knock it off. Shout out to Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin, if they had more dudes like him with his personality in this NBA, there would be no Draymond Green's Shoryuken and doing tornado kicks on people. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. Shout out to him for keeping it a stat. So, you know, this whole GOAT debate, man, it's exhausting. I've given my opinion on this GOAT debate a million times. I said Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time, and then we can pretty much argue about who's in second place. That's just my opinion, right? My top three, I got Jordan, Kareem, Kobe. That's my opinion. I had LeBron at number 4 until he pulled off this Bronny James antics, and I moved him out of my top 5. But Gilbert Arenas, who is a Kobe fan, but argues a lot for LeBron. I don't know how you reconcile the two. It's like a Messi fan always arguing for Ronaldo. I don't know how that works. But he was up here trying to make a case for LeBron and basically saying that, well, let me read the title of the article. It says, Gilbert Arenas on why LeBron James will never be the GOAT over Michael Jordan. And it says, Gilbert Arenas says LeBron James can't win GOAT debate because voters won't change. Right? And I read through the article. I saw some people talking about this, and I said, okay, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to kind of get into this topic and kind of weigh in and give our thoughts on it, right? Okay, great. So let's get into what the article says. It says, Gilbert Arenas has never been shy about the GOAT debate, but his latest take on No Chill Gil wasn't about stats, rings, or eras. It was about the people who talk about the GOAT for a living. According to Arenas, LeBron James won't ever be crowned the greatest player of all time because voters and his voices are who influence, the narrative made their decision decades ago. Arenas posted a clip with a blunt caption, LeBron is never going to be the GOAT, not because he isn't great. Nah, it's because the voters been rocking with rocking the MJ jacket since 96. They got Jumpman stitched into their soul until they swapped these old school Jordan diehards out for some new voters who didn't grow up crying when Jordan retired the first time. The GOAT, the GOAT list isn't moving an inch. On the show, he expanded his idea. Even if Smith says LeBron can stat pad his way to the GOAT status, you're not going to give it to him anyway. The list is never going to change until Michael Jordan standards move out. They select new voters, and then you will start to see the list change a bit. If you have a vote, and I tell you no matter what you do, you're not going to be number one, even if you win 2-3 more championships. And then Gil goes on to make a few other points here. Let's address what Gil is saying here. Gil is essentially saying, the voting, the people that are voting are all Jordan stans. And until you get some LeBron stans in there, then things will start to change. Well, first of all, let me say this. The reason that there's even this GOAT debate to begin with, Gil, is because of the LeBron stands in media. The Nick Wrights, the Shannon Sharps, you, Kendrick Perkins, the Omar from House of Highlight. I mean, you just name them. Lowe and all of these guys. These are all LeBron stands, right? Some of them hide it. Some of them don't. These guys that have been pushing these narratives, this whole GOAT debate, are the ones that have fans thinking that this is a real debate. It's them. All right. Prior to the existence of these guys, there was no GOAT debate. It was Michael Jordan, right? It was Nick Wright and these guys that really kicked that off. That's the first thing. So it's not like as if there aren't LeBron guys in media twerking it up on a daily basis trying to promote this GOAT debate idea. That's the first thing. But here's where Gil loses me. Gil is saying a few things. He's saying that, Jordan fans are saying he's a GOAT because they're Jordan fans. But Gil, here's the problem. This is where you lost the debate, and this is where your point falls flat. One, you're admitting that the only way LeBron can be in the GOAT conversation of voted as a GOAT is if you need to have his fans there. And if it's not his fans, you won't have that. So what does that say about the list or this GOAT ranking? But here's the fact, Gil, that you're missing. The only fan base that believes LeBron James is the GOAT are LeBron James fans. They're the only ones. There's no other NBA fan base that believes that except them. Whereas Jordan, you can have Magic Johnson fans. You can have Kobe Bryant fans. You can have Larry Bird fans. You can have Shaq fans. You can have Hakeem Olajuwon fans. You can have Stephen Curry fans. You can have Kevin Durant fans. You can have Tim Duncan fans. You can have all the fans in the world. The vast majority of them say Jordan is the GOAT. So what does that tell you? You're saying that, these people are only saying that Jordan is the GOAT because they're his fans. No, but there are people that are not Jordan fans that acknowledge he's the GOAT. This is the fundamental difference. And I gotta say, this thing sounds whiny to me. It sounds like somebody crying to get put in a position that most people don't believe you deserve to be in. It sounds whiny to me. If we could only have this, then it'll be that. No, Gil, people already made up their minds. They've already come to the conclusion. They've seen them. They've seen them. You're trying to make it seem like, no, bro. NBA fans say it's Jordan. Basketball fans say it's Jordan. The only group that's talking about LeBron are LeBron fans. That's all. They're the only ones that believe he's the GOAT. Period. But you want to make it seem like this one fan base, their view needs to be the prevailing view. No. People already saw their careers, man. This is the point we've already seen their careers, Gil. It's over. You're talking about LeBron is still playing. He's still writing. Writing what? What is he writing? He's just adding more stats. What's the difference between these stats he's going to add this year versus the stats he added last year versus the stats he added the year before? We already know what constitutes the GOAT. How good were you at your peak? And that argument is over with. So it's not going to change. If there's going to be a GOAT debate, they'll bring somebody else. You guys brought LeBron. Everyone said no. They brought Kobe. Everyone said no. Now we're going to look for somebody else. That's what's going to happen. And it has nothing to do with being old heads or old head. No, Gil, Shannon Sharp is older than you, and he's a LeBron stan. What does it mean, old heads? He's older than you, and he's a LeBron stan. It has nothing to do with old heads. People believe Jordan is a GOAT, and that's it. But anyway, we're going to be having some fireworks today at the White House. Why? Because newly elected mayor Zoran Mamdani is going to be going to the White House to see Donald Trump. Now, Zoran is, I don't want to say he's a controversial figure depending on who you're talking to, right? Some people view him as a socialist. communist, where others view him as a breath of fresh air, where, for instance, some of the Democratic Party is saying maybe we need to look at what this guy's doing and then try to model that going into the future because he spoke directly to the needs of what people were going through in New York City, and maybe that's something that they need to try. So a lot of people have been kind of weighing in on what they believe Zoran Mamdani to be, right? But nevertheless, he's going to be going to the White House, which is, by the way, customary whenever you become a mayor of whatever city that you go visit the president. Now, as you guys know, Donald Trump and Zoran have been having this kind of back and forth over the last few months where they've been going at each other, right? Especially when he was on his campaign, when he was campaigning to ultimately leading up to his election night in New York. They went back and forth with each other. So what we want to quickly do is we actually want to play some of the back and forths that Zoran and the president had leading up to their meeting today. And I'm going to come back to you on the show. Take a listen to this here.
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare.
I think he's frankly, I've heard he's a total nut job.
And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism.
He's a communist. He's not a socialist, by the way. There's a big difference. He's a communist. He's down and dirty. He's a communist.
There is no borough that will be free from Trump's cruelty.
Now it looks like we're going to have a communist mayor in New York. That'll be a lot of fun.
Excellent. So you heard that. Now, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, as you guys know, she usually talks to the press about everything. So they asked her to weigh in on Zoran coming to the White House to meet the president. And Caroline, man, you got to hand it to her, man. She really knows how to she really knows how to do her job in the way that the president likes. Because, you know, I mean, listen to her speak. It almost sounds like you're listening to the president. Sure, she pretty much has the pattern down, man. So when they asked, when a member of the press asked her about Zoran coming to the White House, she used it as an opportunity to take a shot at him, but also praise the president for speaking to him. And I'm like, you already know this thing is going to be fireworks. Take a quick listen to what the press secretary had to say about Zoran visiting the White House today.
Sure.
Thank you, Caroline. Is there anything that Mayor-elect Mamdani could say tomorrow that would ease the president's concerns about his future leadership in New York?
Look, I don't want to speak for the president or get ahead of this meeting that we are currently working on tomorrow. As you saw, the president put out a statement tomorrow that the mayor-elect will be coming to the Oval Office, and so our teams are arranging those details. I won't get into the president's thinking on it. I think you'll all hear from him directly. I also think I will just add, it speaks volumes that tomorrow we have a communist coming to the White House because that's who the Democrat Party elected as the mayor of the largest city in the country. I think it's very telling, but I also think it speaks to the fact that President Trump is willing to meet with anyone and talk to anyone and to try to do what's right on behalf of the American people, whether they live in blue states or red states or blue cities, in a city that's becoming much more left than I think this president ever anticipated in his many years of living in New York himself.
Excellent. So you heard what she had to say. Now I want to get to the serious part of this show. Let's talk about some of the things leading up to this meeting that we need to discuss. So I'm reading from an article from The Guardian that says Donald Trump and Zoran Mamdani to have first face-to-face meeting at the White House. It then continues on. Just a second here. Yeah, it then continues on. Donald Trump and Zoran, the New York City mayor-elect, are scheduled to meet at the White House this afternoon in an encounter between the two ideologically opposed leaders with conflicting visions for the nation's largest city. The meeting marks the first face-to-face discussion between the combative Republican president and the defiant Democratic socialist who secured a commanding electoral victory last month with over 50% of the vote. The meeting comes after months of back and forth with the president, with Trump only recently having called Mamdani a communist lunatic, while the incoming mayor has pledged to Trump-proof New York City and has accused the administration of pursuing policies designed to punish the metropolis. For Mamdani, a left-wing state assembly member, until his shock primary victory, this sit-down presents an early test of his ability to negotiate with the president who controls vast federal resources that the city depends upon. Mamdani's team made the first move in reaching out for a meeting, all while Trump earlier threatened to withhold the funding from New York if Mamdani took office. Though he has since suggested a more conciliatory posture, telling Fox News, "I'm so torn because I would like to see the new mayor do well, but I love New York. And then I'll just read quick a little bit more what it says here. It said the administration has deployed multiple pressure tactics ahead of the meeting. Immigration and customs enforcement officials have signaled plans to escalate operations in New York City, while a number of right-wing congressional Republicans suggested investigating whether Mamdani's citizenship is valid despite his naturalization in 2018 after immigrating from Uganda as a child. So you have that. Now, I just want to quickly touch on something else which is important, which is just kind of give you guys a quick glimpse of what his ideas are and his policies. I'm talking about Zoran, as he's now going to become the mayor of the New York City. So I want to read from this article here from CNN. It says, here's a look at Zoran Mamdani's policies, ideas. Democratic nominee Zoran Mamdani, the front runner in the city's mayoral race, has multiple proposals that have garnered significant interest throughout the campaign as he aims to make the city more affordable. They include a plan to create New York City's first universal child care program, making city buses free and freezing the rent for 1 million rent-stabilized tenants in the city. He's also proposed a tax on the city's wealthiest residents and an increase in the city's corporate tax rate to pay for his policy ideas, which critics have said are unrealistic. Now, I want to quickly just give you a quick glimpse of what some of his things he's talking about. So you have universal child care. The cost of child care is at a crisis level in New York City, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world. Mamdani's proposal would implement free child care for all New York City children ages 6 weeks to 5 years old and would expand existing pre-K and 3K programs launching during the Bill de Blasio's administration. Mamdani wants to fund this proposal by taxing high earners and corporations. Second one, fast and free buses. Mamdani made buses a centerpiece of his campaign, proposing to expand a pandemic-era pilot program and eliminate fares on all city buses. Mamdani has proposed expanding dedicated bus lanes to speed up bus traffic. Mamdani's free bus proposal would be funded by raising the state's corporate tax rate as well as income taxes on New Yorkers who earn more than $1 million per year. Then you have city-run grocery stores. Mamdani would like to create 5 government-subsidized grocery stores, 1 in each of New York City's boroughs. This is one of Mamdani's most controversial ideas, with critics comparing his plan to a Soviet-era government food rationing. Mamdani refers to his plan as public option for produce. He said the government stores would address rising food prices, but by using city land for stores, buying food at wholesale prices, and not charging owners property tax. So those are some of his policies and all of this. Now, if I'm being honest with you, I can't wait to see what this meeting is going to be like. I really can't, because there's one thing when a particular candidate is campaigning and they may not be campaigning as a member of your party, and you take shots at them. You're going to say things about them. You're going to say this. You're going to say that. It's another thing when that's kind of over with, and you guys are now sitting down, and you're not really you're not going back and forth with one another. I'll give you an example of it. Think of all of the things that President Obama said about Donald Trump on the on the presidential stump during the campaign, right? And then some of the things that President Donald Trump said about Barack Obama. Wasn't it the two of them that we saw last time sitting together look like cracking jokes or whatever, and he's making Obama laugh and all? So it's one thing when you're in the heat of elections and all that, but it's another thing when you guys are sitting down now, you're actually talking face to face. So I don't think it's going to be anything like what we've seen in some of these sound bites that we just play for you guys. If it's anything like that, then good Lord Almighty, get ready for a ride.